this episode of Grimology.
Hello.
Alright guys, so the first story we're going to talk about tonight is Goughs Cave. We're going to read a couple articles. I have a video to watch. I've read a little bit about this, but
I've read nothing.
Somber's read absolutely nothing. The gist of this is that early humans used to eat other early humans in this cave. And there's evidence of their bones.
I'd believe it
Pretty much.
without evidence.
So yeah, this is it's the Mesolithic Britain's Blue-Eyed Boy is the name of the article here from the National History Museum. So this is the guy they found in Goughs Cave. Ancient DNA from Cheddarman, a Mesolithic skeleton discovered in 1903 at Goughs Cave in Cheddar Gorge, Somerset, has helped museum scientists paint a portrait of one of the oldest modern humans in Britain. Cheddarman lived around 10,000 years ago and is the oldest, almost complete skeleton of our species, Homo sapiens, ever found in Britain. New research into ancient DNA extracted from the skeleton has helped scientists to build a portrait of Cheddarman and his life in Mesolithic Britain. The big
Get over that name.
Cheddarman.
Yeah.
It's kind of stupid a little bit. like it's
Yeah.
I don't
Put
know.
some respect on that
It's
name.
not. Yeah, it's like I love cheese. Don't get me wrong, but
come on, Cheddarman.
I mean I get it because it's like the place is called Cheddar Gorge or whatever. But that's a dumb name too. I don't know. So I guess this is a picture of him. Whoa.
He's very happy.
He's very happy. Look at him. He just.
So much detail in that.
He just got done munching on some teenagers. Of course he's happy. Yeah, actually, I think like now they have like tours of the cave you can do, like certain tours, and they like
We should go.
sell cheddar. They sell like cheese, not like cheddar money, but like, you know. It says, it's long been known the early humans who inhabited Goughs Cave, Somerset, around 15,000 years ago, practiced cannibalism and modified certain human remains, such as turning skulls into cups. Like, that is crazy. Like, imagine like you just killed your best friend and you're like, oh, got a new cup now. I was watching some of this and like some of the evidence that suggests they're cannibals, like maybe they're just really useful, like
Resourceful.
yeah, they're just really resourceful. They're like, well, I don't want to let John go to waste.
He's dead anyway.
He's dead. He's not using
Might
this.
as well use it.
I need a cup. Like, it was talking about bite marks, which I was thinking, oh yeah, bite marks. That seems right. But what if they were using them for utensils or something? Like sometimes, you
That's
know,
true.
you're eating. I don't know. Maybe they weren't even humans who were eating them. Maybe they were like
Monkeys.
I was
Because
gonna.
they're so similar to us.
I was gonna go with aliens, but yeah. So they compromised the remains of at least 6 individuals: a child of around 3, a young adolescent, an older adolescent, and 3 adults, one of whom was elderly, and all show extensive evidence for cannibalism. Some 65% of the bones bear clear butchery marks, testifying to disarticulation. But that could just be they're cutting it up to cook. Well, I guess that. Yeah, never mind. That's the thing is like this stuff's really interesting,
Know how to do their job.
and we can like really talk about this stuff and get into it. But at the end of the day, we're not archaeologists, and we don't know anything. So
we're just two
idiots. It's previously been suggested this could be the desperate last resort of a community in the grips of starvation, kind of what we were getting at a little bit, with reference to the enigmatic skull cups. That the remains could have been eaten for symbolic reasons, perhaps as part of some kind of funerary rite. Researchers from the Natural History Museum in London and UCL examined a human arm bone, or right radius, which has been deliberately carved with a zigzag pattern of incisions. They concluded that the zigzags were more likely artistic than having to do with preparing the limb for consumption. That's kind of crazy. This last video is like just a little video. It talks about it. So 15,000 years ago, the UK was still connected to mainland Europe. This meant early settlers could walk to the UK. Oh, interesting. Goughs Cave, right there. In case Gough Cave, in case anybody wanted to visit it. Museum scientists have found and studied remains from this site. Signs of cannibalism. Distinct cut marks.
We recognize cut marks, percussion damage.
Percussion damage. Is that what I think it is?
What?
I don't know why, but I feel like percussion damage is like they use the bones as drumsticks. Like I don't know why. Like percussion damage.
They use it as a form of handle.
Yeah, but like percussion damage. That's kind of what it sounds like, right? Like because like you're playing the percussion, your percussion instrument.
They're just vibing in the caves.
Like it reminds me.
Steve's bones.
It reminds me of those. What's that skeleton song where they're playing the bones and it's making the spooky skeletons? So there's playing the song.
Using 3D analysis and comparing with other bone, we thought it was actually an engraving on a human bone, which is the oldest.
Whoa! So they were like literally engraving onto bones. I mean, I don't know.
Just a little diary.
It kind of makes sense, like a little bit, because I mean, they're early man. They're trying to survive, and you literally have like a big bag of meat right there with like
it's
tools
all about survival instinct,
and tools.
Like you're saying.
I don't know. And plus, like, they didn't have these like notions of death that we have today. You know what I mean?
And
Like,
it's also like cannibalism is in a lot of different species.
I'm not saying cannibalism
So
is
why is
right.
it-
I am not advocating
Yeah.
for cannibalism
Yeah,
whatsoever.
but just thinking,
It's clearly
like,
wrong.
Thinking of it,
Yeah.
like in today's day.
Yes, like today's day,
But back then, it's like no different than like
eating an animal. Like, I wonder.
the other species in cannibalism. It's like it's just for survival. The food is food.
I guess that would depend on if they're eating them live or dead. I mean, as long as they've died first, but, and I guess depending on how they died too, but.
These also suggest that the cannibalistic act was actually part of a ritualistic cannibalism.
And that's interesting too, like the ritualistic aspect of it.
Yeah.
They called it like a funerary ritual. So like
Funerary?
a funerary, like, you know, like they died, and so like part of like sending them to the other side is cutting them up and eating them. And I wonder too, I kind of just thought of this might already be a thing too, but like I wonder if like possibly they thought like the act of eating somebody was like almost bringing them back to life, because you're consuming their energy, and you're kind of like you know, they become a part of you. You know, they become a part of you in a way. I'm not advocating cannibalism whatsoever. That's really kind of the whole, you know, point of science, is just not even necessarily science, but just like discussion in general and figuring things out and piecing things together. And just trying to think about things a lot of different ways. All right, so this next one we're going to talk about is the Mossdale Caverns. I'm just going to read this quick little... It's actually the Mossdale Caverns wiki. Here's a little picture of it. It's pretty cool. But this is the wiki. This has... the cave system is notorious amongst cavers in the United Kingdom for a tragedy that occurred 24th of June, 1967. On that day, 10 cavers entered the system. 3 hours later, 4 members of the party decided not to continue and exited the cave system. One of these 4 returned to the entrance shortly afterwards, only to find it completely submerged due to a recent rainfall having swollen Mossdale Beck. Realizing immediately that the 6 cavers who remained inside the cave system were in danger, she ran 4 kilometers, 2.5 miles across the moor to raise the alarm. Cave rescue teams arrived at the scene, but the high water levels prevented access to the cave. The waters of Mossdale Beck had to be diverted away from the cave entrance by digging a trench, even though the rescue operation could not be started because of the high water levels inside. So that is honestly freaking terrifying.
So they essentially just got stuck and drowned.
That's like that is the worst way to die. Like, in my
you're
opinion.
already panicking about being like crushed to death by rocks
Like,
slowly.
right.
Now you have to worry about getting drowned.
Right. Oh god, that's awful. And I found this cool PDF about it. We're not gonna go over all this, but it has like everyone's different account in here, which is super cool of what happened. Building the Mossdale Cairn, burying the bodies, like it's really in depth if you're interested into this. I did put a link down into the video description, so feel free to check that out. But here's a picture of the cavern. So you have Tunnel Caves, Voice Connection, Minico Passage, Leakey's Marathon, Farm Marathon, Knee Record Junction, Rough Passage. So these are all the different routes you can take, and we're actually going to watch a video a little bit later of some people kind of going through the cave, just to kind of give you guys an idea of how claustrophobic it would have been. So this looks like them: Dave Pickup, Jim Newton, Jim Meyer.
I forget that they had cameras in that time.
Richard Dickinson. That guy's name is unknown. Jim Newton, yeah, Jim Eyre, yeah. These must be all of them. Their accounts.
Jim
So those
Cunningham.
must be, the guys who are alive, because they said there was 10 of them, and 3 of them.
Yeah,
Was it 3 or 4 decided not to go in?
4.
It was not until the following day that the entry was possible. The cave rescue teams found the bodies of 5 of the cavers in the far marathon crawls, and Bob Leakey led a search party to a location where he believed the 6th might have survived, but without success. The 6th body was located the following day. The bodies were left in situ. The coroner decided to seal the cave, and concrete was poured down the only safe entrance. This was later reopened in 1971 with the agreement of their families. The bodies were buried by their colleagues from the ULSA in mud caverns, a chamber at the far end of the system. So their bodies are literally still there.
That's crazy.
That is super crazy. This is to date the most deadly incident in British caving. Wow. A memorial plaque is affixed to the cliff above the entrance. Yeah, I saw that. So the video we're going to watch, these guys actually look at they see that. So this is Tony Walton's account, Sunday 25th, June 1967. The single word Mossdale means so much in different contexts. Followed by caverns, it becomes one of the most remarkable caves in the Dales, with the long crawlways explored by the indomitable Bob Leakey, largely on his own, in the summer of 1941. Followed by tragedy, it becomes that weekend in 1967 when 6 Dales cavers died in a massive flood. The 6 were members and friends of the Happy Wanderers, and none of us will ever forget them, nor can we forget that awful weekend. On the evening of Friday, June 23rd, a group of us drove north from London. We passed through some really heavy rainstorms, but without realizing their portent. The morning of Saturday the 24th brought a lovely summer's day. We enjoyed the dry conditions with a jaunt down Marigill Hole. Just along the fell, the Brooke brothers and a Leeds team returned to their new discovery at Black Shiver Pot, and across in Wharfdale, Dale Adamson led a strong team down Mossdale. He was joined by John Ogden, Bill Frakes, Colin Vickers, Mike Ryan, Jeff Burrow, John Shepard, Jim Cunningham, Morag Forbes, and Colette Lord. Their arm was some blasting and excavation at the southern end of the high-level mud caverns. We emerged from Marigill in the early afternoon at about the same time John, Shep, Jim, Morag, and Colette turned round on their short trip into the Mossdale River passages, leaving the other 6 to continue into the far crawls. With much of the day still in hand, we headed for a quick trip down Washfold Pot, but we were forestalled by a heavy rainstorm. We waited it out on the Ribblesdale Road, but then abandoned Washfold and merely laid plans for the Sunday. The same rainstorm trapped the Leeds team in Black Shiver Pot, where they endured long and forced waits in various semi-dry chambers, and the same storm turned Mossdale Beck into a raging torrent. That's pretty much the story here. If you want to know more, definitely check this link out. It's super extensive about everything it talks about, a lot of pictures. We're going to watch this video of these guys. They're just kind of going into the cave, and they kind of show that plaque. I thought it was pretty interesting, so we'll show a little bit of it. The link to their channel is also going to be down in the description as well. So you can see the plaque right there. I don't think they say anything about it. Maybe they do. No. But yeah, there's the plaque, and then this is like what it was like in the cave. And like spelunking always sounded super fun to me until I realized that
Until you watch.
until I watched people do it, and it's just like,
Not for me.
this would be like probably literally the worst way to go. Like,
I would end up. The cave wouldn't kill me. I would kill myself.
That's creepy. Right?
I'd give myself a heart
Probably,
attack
yeah.
from how much I'm panicking and just
right.
fucking die. My body would be part of that burn.
Oh my gosh, mine too. Like, I think at some point they label too where they're where they're at, and I think you can see. We'll look at the picture too. Yeah. Like this wouldn't be bad. Like that would be fine. Like, I'd still be scared out of my mind, but I would.
Yeah, it gives me the forest vibes.
Yes. Oh yes, it does. I want to see if I can find. Oh yeah. So like right here, they have it labeled. Marathon crawl. So this is the marathon crawl, and if I can find that picture. So yeah, far marathon. I'm guessing some of these might have Leakey's marathon. Some of these might have changed since then. This far marathon, I think, is the marathon crawl they're talking about. But you can see like look how like He's on his knees, like in the water. No, freaking
That water looks
thank you.
nice.
It does
Look how
look
clear
nice.
that water is.
It is really clear. Like, oh my goodness, this is giving me claustrophobia. Like watching
That's
this.
where I would die.
I would just literally be like, oh, like look at that. There's like
First
literally
of all.
just enough space. Stream in Cave. Let's see if we can find that on the map. Stream in Cave, yeah, right there. So that's where they're at right there. So they must have
Where
been
did
they must have been in this far marathon right here.
Yeah.
And they're going so they're like at the end. So they've gotten really far. But just like imagine like you're here and like it just fills with water and there's like
Yeah.
nothing you can do.
And it's so dark, you can't see anything.
Oh gosh, yeah. All right, so this last one we're going to talk about is actually one that I read a long time ago. As you can see, this was last updated in 2001. This is super old. This isn't like a specific cave like the other ones were. This is this guy's blog pretty much where he's talking about this cave that he's been visiting. We're actually going to, we're not going to read all of it because it's super long. I think it's like an 86-minute read. So we're not going to read that all today. We're just kind of go over the summary. There's an article here on iHorror that like kind of talks about it a little bit. But we are doing a series where we go through and we're going to read this whole thing. We're going to do a couple blog posts at a time. There's pictures here, super interesting. We're just going to go over each blog post and talk about stuff. That you should see that tomorrow if it's not already up. And that will be on Saturdays. And we'll still be doing the weekly topic ones as well. So keep a lookout for that. So this is super interesting. Like when I read this, like in 2007, 2005, like I literally could not stop reading it. It creeped me out. Let's just say that. This is one of my favorite creepypastas of all time. And like the cool part is he takes pictures and apparently I've read somewhere that someone confirmed this is real, but I don't know if that's true or not. In February 2000, a man known only by the name of Ted the Caver embarked on a journey with his friend to discover what lies beyond the reaches of a small hole in the earth at the bottom of a cave. What they discovered is both bizarre and terrifying, also apparently true. Here's one entry from his journal as he describes an unseen presence from the bowels of the earth. So, it felt like a legion of demons was about to attack me from behind. I felt like my salvation lay ahead of me in the darkness, and Lucifer was behind me, trying to keep me from safety. So as you can see, he's a pretty good writer. I mean, he's a good caver, and he's also a good writer. So that leads me to believe it's probably not real. But who am I to say? I don't know. Ted the Caver documented his trip into madness and made it available for the internet to read. The story is a popular legend that was reported on the pages of Creepypasta, a site that encourages writers to submit their terrifying stories, true or not. As Ted says in the beginning of his journal, if you think these events are far-fetched, I agree. I would come to the same conclusion had I not experienced them. And yeah, like I said, the entire thing's still here. It's an Angel Fire link. We'll click on here a little bit. So it's pretty much just him talking about it, March 23rd, 2001. On February 2001, friends Ted and B, names withheld for privacy, avid explorers descended into a cave with the hopes of exploring it one last time. Ted had been fascinated by a hole deep within its passages and wondered if there was any way to get through it. The size of the opening was only wrist thick, but the duo was determined to break through it and discover the mysteries that lie beyond underground. So the opening. As they sat beside the opening, contemplating what tools they would need, they heard strange noises coming from within, wind and rumbling that Ted surmises was the natural effects of ambient noises and the passing traffic nearby. Once the team decided what they would need to continue the excavation, they left, eager to return and begin the work. Nearly a month later, they bring down the tools and they return. They call it Mystery Cave. Oh, I remember that. And began the arduous task of making an accommodating crawl space into the rock. He said that he swore he just heard a strange noise emanating from the hole. He said it sounded like rock sliding on rock, sort of a grinding sound. Oh, it's so freaking creepy. Like, caves already are, like, terrifying. And just add, like, any kind of weird phenomenon whatsoever, you're done. Done. Yeah, just done. Right. In the weeks to come, the men hammered, picked, and dug further into the opening, hoping to make it wide enough for them to pass, but as they did so, more strange noises kept breaking through the darkness. Ted says there was one instance in which a loud scream could even be heard over the whir of his drill. Oh, like,
Ew.
oh, that's so freaking creepy. So he eventually gets in. He finds a tunnel in a wall. On the left side of the room, on the wall about eye level, I discovered what appeared to be hieroglyphics. It was a single drawing that almost appeared to be part of the rock coloration. It looked like very crude representations of people standing below a symbol. I was pumped. This meant there had been another entrance to this cave. And here's the drawing he drew of it. So yeah, he takes pictures and he goes back to B, who's still waiting on the other side because I think he couldn't get through. Wanting to share his discovery, Ted searched for a person that would be able to confirm his and B's discovery by climbing through the passage himself. The person was Joe. Once there, Joe managed to climb through the opening and disappear into the darkness of the cavern, but he quickly emerged and remained silent about his experiences in the tunnels. Ted explains Joe's odd behavior. So they get Joe to go in. Joe goes in, starts acting sus. He's being weird. I figured we'd be able to find out more from Joe, but when he got to the final climb, he just unclipped from the rope and went straight to the truck. And the last day, he looked even worse than in the cave. B and I gathered up the rope and our gear and headed to the truck. Joe saw some fucked up stuff. So the creepy part about all of this is that at one point, he just stops uploading stuff. Like, ends in a very creepy way. I'm not going to give it away because I think part of the allure of this whole story is reading through it and reading, getting to know Joe and Ted and B, kind of getting to know all those guys. But yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. All right, guys, thanks for watching. Peace.
Goodbye.